following presentation is for educational purposes only. All of the symbols, trading ideas, and live trading are for demonstrational purposes and are not recommendations or trading advice. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All of the information and opinions expressed by third-party guests are their own and are not necessarily those of NinjaTrader LLC. Trading futures involve substantial risk and may not be suitable for everyone, and trading futures can result in losses greater than the initial required margin. Traders should only trade futures with risk capital. Risk capital is money that you can afford to lose without jeopardizing your financial security or current lifestyle. You can find additional disclosure information on the NinjaTrader website.
So Tom, let's take a peek now that we have the non-news, out of the way. Let's take a peek at, we haven't really talked about the Dow, this cash index of the Dow Jones Industrial Index, hit 40,000 for the first time. Quite a milestone by all accounts. We haven't really talked about that a lot, so I just wanted to kind of pull up a Dow chart right now and take a look at what a weekly Dow futures chart is looking like.
Right, and on your unadjusted data chart, we actually hit 40,000 earlier, about 2 months ago, right? This is a weekly chart. So you go back, this is revisiting areas that we saw back in March. But as we know, there is a little bit of a difference between the futures and the cash or the index because of that anticipation, time value of money. But it's looking like we're trying to get stay above 40,000. There's kind of a double top forming here, not to be unexpected when you hit important psychological levels like this.
Yeah, and so that cash index, I think on May 17th, hit that 40,000, closed. I'm tracking close prices now, closed at that above that 40,000. And if I kind of just move my crosshairs over here to that particular week, as you pointed out, we crossed that barrier there earlier, right, in March. And that said, again, these charts are not back adjusted. These are the actual prices that happened on the front month of the contract. And, we closed above it March 29th, so earlier than the cash index.
Right. And that's usually the case, right? It's usually the case that the futures will hit a target in a bull market earlier than the cash.
Yeah, I mean, the stock index futures are usually in contango instead of backwardation. And because of that, this is a futures contract, a 3-month forward-looking futures contract. You do have that phenomenon that happens, and I think that's what we're seeing today.
When I'm looking at this chart, I see that you have a VWAP attached to the lows from October, November, and that market, when it pulled back, it tested that VWAP from the low, which is the volume weighted average price of everything that traded, since that point, and had nice support. It tried to get there again a couple times, but it acted almost as a launching pad, and might be tested again. I don't know, but a new VWAP might be to draw one from that low now, right? When you talk about important inflection points, supportive lows could be the start of a new VWAP, and you could just keep drawing them.
Yeah, and Tom, it's crazy when I think about, we have presenters come on and talk about unique, guests have unique points of view on how to analyze the market. Things that maybe we've thought about, maybe we haven't thought about, but really haven't practiced. And Brian Shannon shows up with this VWAP book, which was awesome. And we had him on. And so I started drawing these anchored VWAPs, and it's coincidental. Like, NinjaTrader launched their anchor VWAP tool coincidentally right when we discovered Brian. There wasn't any collusion there.
Right. With software development, these tools might take a while to create, right? Especially the more complex tools. And I would say, as mature as the NinjaTrader product is, there's always going to be new developments, but a lot of those developments might be a little more complex because the easy stuff is out of the way. The moving averages are out of the way, the RSI and stochastics. But when you talk about VWAP, it's just a line, but there's more to it than just drawing a line. So it does take some time. And so that was probably in the hopper for, I would say, weeks to months before we ever talked to Brian.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these tech guys at NinjaTrader. I mean, you see them and you hear this. It's like a teletype type machine going 100 miles an hour. They're out there, hitting keys. It's pretty awesome.
Yep.
Anyway, so you're right. So here's our touch point here. We hit it on the week of April 19th. Nice. I started the anchored VWAP back here on November 3rd, just to kind of demark when the rally started. I could have started at the candle before if I wanted to start it at the very low of the move, but I decided to start it when we turned around, which was the next week, and then just draw it all the way, just extended it. And like into everyone's astonishment, including myself, that touch point happens, boom, and we continued on, right? So this is one of my new favorite toys, Tom, in the toolbox. In the playpen, which is NinjaTrader.
Well, and if you had used that other bar, I think the further out you go from it, it really doesn't make a lot of difference, right? No. It's more when it's closer to the data. So I think that's totally good reasoning there.
All right. So daily chart, double top here, man. I mean, this is this kind of puts that 40,000 level in perspective in terms of market sentiment. Really nice kind of top, I guess, first top, and then the second top. And now we're kind of trailing a little bit off of that, getting close to that 8 EMA, exponential moving average.
And I'd have to check with Mike, but it looks like yesterday was a key reversal where we have a higher high but a lower close than the previous bar. And it's almost, it's not quite a bearish engulfing, but it's close. But it might be a key reversal, which not shocking that we're not seeing much of a retracement here, although it is early. We'll see what happens at the open. But you're right, a double top or triple top, whatever you want to call it. I'd call those the beginning of your resistance rectangle, possibly just a single test. It's basically 5 out of 7 bars testing it. This could be, a double top now if this market does pull back a little.
Yeah, and I think some of this has been attributed to Jamie Dimon's comments yesterday about not being interested. It's now is not the time for a buyback, a stock buyback, and he referenced a technical measure, a 2 times tangible book, which means that the market price of the company stock is twice the value of its tangible book value per share. So, and pretty much the tangible assets are in this case are a little bit of brick and mortar, but probably mostly cash.
And and why would the Dow is he speaking specifically of the Dow? Or are the companies doing a lot of buybacks? I haven't explored that this go around. I know buybacks are back in fashion, but is it affecting the Dow constituents more than anything else?
I think he was referring to bank stocks more than anything, but it was a global comment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't hear him say it, and I was reading after the fact. This happens when you go to the beach with the dogs the night before. you miss the good sound clips.
That's right.
You see the great nature though. So the other thing I added here, Tom, was I tried to replicate Mike Arnold's fib where he added negative numbers. He added these aren't really extensions, but or you can call them expansion maybe. But this minus 12.5 and this minus 25%. This is how he views an upside target when there's nothing but clear skies above. There's no other areas of interest. There's no other there's no pivot. There's no anything. There's just we're breaking new ground here. And so he likes to look at that 25% at the top of the fib, harmonic fib, as a target if in fact we break out of this double top. So that's why I added that.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of doing it because it keeps the retracement in there, but it also gives you the extension. You could use a fib extension with harmonic settings, but that just goes in the extension direction. It doesn't include the possibility of a retracement. So yeah, so that's really interesting. That's really creative what he did there. I don't know if we'll see the plan come together, because if we do retrace, the question is, how far do we retrace into that retracement before you measure the next move, right? If it's a small pullback, yeah, I would keep it like this, no problem. But if we see a substantial pullback, then you would probably you would probably reset your launching point to the next downtrend, next low peak. But I think that's great. I think that's a great way to do that. Looks like that 12.5% retracement could be where your moving average hits eventually.
Yeah, and the only thing that I've done differently than other folks is I use this target wick way down to anchor this retracement. A lot of folks don't like to do that. They like to anchor it to the body of a candle. And again, this is, I don't know, personal preference. So if I was doing it to the lowest body of the candle, I'd move it up here. And the touch point now is May 1st. And then the same thing on the top. We'd go to that. Well, we're at it right now, pretty much. Go all the way to here. So you would adjust it that way. And it makes a little bit of a difference, not a lot of bit of a difference, but that's just a different technique.
Right.
All right. Well, there you go. There's the infamous Dow Jones, $5 Dow.
All of the symbols, trading ideas, and live trading are for demonstrational purposes and are not recommendations or trading advice. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All of the information and opinions expressed by third-party guests are their own and are not necessarily those of NinjaTrader LLC. Trading futures involve substantial risk and may not be suitable for everyone, and trading futures can result in losses greater than the initial required margin. Traders should only trade futures with risk capital. Risk capital is money that you can afford to lose without jeopardizing your financial security or current lifestyle. You can find additional disclosure information on the NinjaTrader website.